Hey everyone, have I here bringing a video on Dragon Ball Z Dokkan Battle. In this video, we're going to be doing our full breakdown and some fun little team builds for the Carnival LR Omega Shenron. So with that, if you're new to my channel, like, subscribe, comment below, do all that good stuff. Let's go ahead and dive right in. And yeah, this is a long and awaited Carnival LR. I thought they should have released this unit back in the end of 2023. Now it's mid 2024, you know, with the whole quote unquote syncing or merging of Global and JP. I figured they would, you know, move things a little faster, but it is Global as usual, business as usual. And yeah, we get this LR now. So this is going to be a Carnival unit, Carnival banner. So unfortunately, there is no pity on Omega Shenron. Where I think most of you would have hoped, myself included, would have hoped a pity system. So yeah, Carnival unit here. So before we dive into the stats, let's go ahead and look at the card art as usual. SSR, TUR, neither of them I like. I don't know what it is, how its stance is, how the attack, I don't know. It looks just not that great. However, props to the LR card art. It looks amazing. So that's all we're generally going to look at. Besides you summoning the SSR, the LR card art is absolutely incredible. So at least they did a good job there. Now let's go ahead and dive into the stats, which this is one of these units that if they changed a couple of things, this would have been a very, very good release and could be a very, very good release for a long period of time. However, they really messed it up. Just a couple of things, and I'll point those things out in just 1 second. First and foremost, the stats are actually very good when it comes to HP and defense, right? 26,600 for HP and over 17,000 in defense. Anything over 15,000 is really good. This is over 17,000. The attack is a little less than be desired for an LR, right? That's kind of like Dokkan Festival exclusive type of numbers there, so under 17,000. You know, I think they could have bumped it a little bit over 17,000. I think that would have been fine. Now, let's look at the rest of the unit here. Let's make this a little bit bigger for you all to see. The first big issue, what they did here, was the leader skill. This is the absolute worst option they could have chosen for any of the options they would have had here. Let me kind of switch it over here as well. They could have had what? They could have had Shadow Dragon Saga, full power, transformation boost, inhuman deeds, power absorption, powerful comeback, GT bosses, and battle fate at 200%. They chose the one with the least amount of units that you can run on it at 200%, or just in general. They could have chosen anything else, even Shadow Dragon Saga, which is not that good either. You could have had better options to run here, but they already have a 200% Carnival powerful comeback. You know, Battle of Fate is more of the Dokkan Festival exclusive 8-year anniversary units, so they could have done like power absorption, full power, transformation boost, or inhuman deeds. Any of those would have been much better than GT bosses. That was big mistake number one, and I would say that's one of the reasons why a lot of people don't really care for this unit here, because you can't run his main team. And I'll show you what that looks like, so you're gonna go, oh, okay, that makes a lot of sense. So if they were to change this, it would have been a 100% added benefit for this unit here. Now they had to change a couple more things down here, but that would be a great start if they were to do that, but they're not. It's GT bosses. We're gonna need a lot more units to go ahead and beef up that team there. So super attack here, Dragon Thunder, raises defense for 1 turn, causes colossal damage to enemy, lowers attack, and has a high chance of stunning an enemy. The debuff is common with any Omega Shenron. That's kind of his thing. You'll see that in the passive as well, so nothing all that special there. Then your ultra super attack greatly raises defense for 1 turn, causes mega colossal damage to enemy, and then lowers attack and defense versus just attack. The lowers attack is really the huge benefit here, especially if you're doing like Super Battle Road and things of that nature, or in the beginning stages of hard content. That's fine, but later every top boss, they're immune to, you know, debuffs, and this causes this unit really not to be all that beneficial. Let's go ahead and look at the passive skill here. Catastrophe Born of Malignant Energy. Active entrance animation. It's a orb change for 7 turns, which is fine. That I actually don't mind these types of entrance animations where it's not like an incredible buff or things of that nature that could fall off after 5 turns, after in this case 7 turns here. I rather have that as just a little added benefit versus you know, kind of always have to have it on, right? So this, orb changing is very, very nice there. Here's where it gets interesting here. Here's the debuff. All enemies attack and defense minus 25%. So what the heck is the S super attack there for, right? If this already debuffs, then it's automatic, and I guess it's going to stack the debuff there, but again, it would have been nice to see like all enemies attack and defense minus 25% regardless of defense or regardless of the omission of that. Like this would be one of the only units that you can debuff when you can't debuff based off a super attack, right? I think that would have been very interesting if they would have done something like this. On top of that, you're able to get the first stat boost of Ki +3 attack and defense 200%, which is very strong. That's a solid standalone there. But guess what? That's pretty much about it, is all you get. There's no stacking ability, things of that nature. You do get an attack buff up to 150% with each attack performed. And then they're like, oh, okay, well, we'll provide you some damage reduction here so that you can actually work things out. But it's just really not enough. They could have easily just changed this to attack and defense, maybe up to 100%, or even at a 150. We're seeing units now that even at 150, just because right here, the biggest majority of damage reduction you're going to get for this unit here is per GT Boss's category ally. If you're not running a GT Boss's team and you're placing this with another team here, you need a different way to go ahead and buff your defense up. So having attack and defense 20% up to 150, they could have just did that. Now that would have made this unit incredibly strong, but hey, we're in the 9-year anniversary. We're probably going to have new content that's going to be a lot harder. I think that would have been just fine if they would have done that. Again, that would have made this unit really strong, but that's what we need for extreme class characters. I talked about the 5% +1 a key of GT Boss's category, so you basically can get max of 30%, and then +6 key, and 30% there. So that's when you have a full GT Bosses team, and then you're able to do that rainbow benefit. Let's say you get 3 of those, you'll be over 50%. So with over 50% and 200 defense, and then the ultra super attack, you're still not first position strong enough. That's why you need some additional stat boost, even though you're at 17,000 for your super hard red zone stages. 50% and 200%. I think you'll be okay in the beginning stages, but late in the stages, that's going to be pretty tough. So he needed one more boost here. Now, the really nice thing about this unit, this is actually really good because Revival is still one of the most powerful things you can do in Dokkan, right? If your HP is 50% or less at the start of the attacking turn, you revive 70%, and then of the HP, and then you're basically revived if you get KO'd. And that's not just you, that's any ally attacking in the same turn. So that's huge benefit there. And then after you revive, attacks effective against all types and the additional super attack. This is very powerful from the turn in which your character's revival is activated. So it's only one time, but still very strong, very powerful there. And of course, anytime you have revival, it is very beneficial. So this is fine there. They could have just added some decent defensive mechanic just right here, attack and defense 20%. This unit would have been totally different, and a lot of people would be like, oh yeah, one of the best Carnival units you can pick up, top tier extreme class units. A lot of different things they could have said just by adding and defense right here. So active skill, it does have an active skill here. You do have greatly raises attack, temporarily causes ultimate damage to enemy, and lowers attack and defense by 30%. It's like, all this doesn't matter when you're like in the last stage, right? disables enemies action. Now this is very beneficial, but again, this is once only. It can be activated from the start of the turn if your target his attack down or defensive down, or then the 6 turns starting from the battle. So there you have it. That's the stats for this unit here. Let's go ahead and look at the link skills. Brutal beatdown, big bad bosses. That's of course always beneficial. GT, fear and faith, shadow dragons, fierce power, and legendary power. And then we already talked about the categories and the stats here. Again, overall, like if this was released the beginning of 2023 last year, before all these red zones, before the Future Saga events, things of that nature, I think this unit would have been like praised, like, oh yeah, this is fine, this works fine. Yeah, GT boss is a little hard to run, but I could run this on this team, or I could run this on that team, and you know, the revival mechanic's really good, etc., etc. But now it's like, it's tough to say, hey, this is a good unit, and it's going to be a valuable unit for you to use for years to come, unless we know in the future there's just going to be a ton of GT bosses that's going to be OP type tier units. But all of itself, this unit, you can't really run this in first position if you're on the end game. Second position, you should be fine, right? Second or floater, because if you have a full GT bosses team, you get the 30%, you get the rainbow orbs, you get the ultra super attack off, maybe you get an additional super attack off. I think you'll be fine. But if you were to have that additional defense on the attack, so much better. Anyway, I keep on rambling about that. Let's go ahead and move on to the teams, because this is where it's lacking the most. I would say when you're summoning for a brand new unit, especially if it's a Carnival LR, because Carnival LRs and Dokkan Festival exclusive LRs, they're like your top tier units that you want to summon for. Carnival LRs should be creating teams that's going to be, in my opinion, in the top 10. In how I judge, I think I do pretty fair when it comes to the top 10. There's no way you can create a team right now that's even in that, like the top 50, it seems like, with this GT bosses here. Let me show you why. These are all the units that you can run. That's LRs and TURs. That's it. It's one of the smallest categories in the game, and I don't know why they chose it. Right? I don't know why they chose it, unless they had some more units that were going to be popping out extreme GT bosses, which they don't have. Now, if you're like, okay, well, that's, you know, there seems like there's you know, at least several options you can run for, you know, 6 characters or 5 characters. Well, I've removed some of these. Remember, we're talking about global, so the new LR, Cell, and Frieza, that's a no-go. I'm taking out most of the Omegas, right? I'm taking out, you know, some of the unusual babies, right? And the TUR SS or the TUR of the baby for the LR, right? And some of these other units that are same names, Omega Shenron. It's very, very lackluster. So if you wanted to run a team that was GT bosses, it's going to look something like this, right? If you're going to run, and I said, oh, you're going to have hard time running Omega Shenron in first position, you know, especially turn 1 until he, well, I guess turn 1 doesn't really matter, because you just need to have the bosses on the team. You're not building up, right? I'm thinking in my mind, I wish they were to help this unit build up, but there's nothing to build up. You get the orbs. Hopefully you'll get the orb change. You get 4, maybe even 5 rainbow orbs, and then you can be in first position, and you have, you know, more damage mitigation at, you know, 60% or something like that. What's the max you can do? You can get 30%, and then if you get 5 at 7, that'll be 65%. That's the most you can get in damage mitigation, and only 200% defense off the bat. And then of course after super attack, I think you'd be fine. Anyway, you don't have any other options, guys. You don't have any other options to run in first position. That's your best option to run in first position. You have, this is all you have. Like, if you looked at this, you go, yeah, what can I do with this? Not much. GT bosses, Super Battle Road. That's what you can do with this team here. Now, if you're like, okay, yeah, I won't put Omega Shenron, I'll put him in as a floater. Okay, you have these options here. You have Easy A Baby, which hasn't Easy A yet. He will Easy A. He'll be a part of the celebration coming up here. So you might go, why is there Easy A Baby? Yeah, Easy A LR Baby will be coming really soon after this unit's going to be dropping, which is on the 16th. And then Super 17. Oh my goodness, it's not good, right? It's not good, guys. So what are your options, right, with this unit here? You can run the main team, which I mentioned, it's not runnable, right? So like, okay, what's the value of this unit then if I'm running an unrunnable team for at least end game, right? This, again, you can complete some of the other stuff in the game on here, but for end game, it's going to be very, very difficult. I guess you could survive with this team somehow, some way. Okay, yeah, let's put him in Power of Wishes, because he, in a 200%, he can run Battle of Fate and Shadow Dragon Saga, right? Shadow Dragon Saga, Battle of Fate, 200%. Let's put him there. Where would you put him? What would you omit out? I guess if you're starting the game and you had no other choice, great. Put him into a 3rd position. That's probably your best bet there, or a floater position. And then the other option you can run at 200% is Powerful Comeback. Where are you going to run there? So the value for this unit, guys, I don't see it increasing anytime soon. And for everyone who's thinking about summoning, unless you're collecting like me and you really can't stop but to, you know, chase after some units on here, I'm going to limit myself on how many Dragon Stones I'm going to use, just like I did with Super Baby. And then literally the next time he came into the banner, I ended up rainbowing him as a secondary unit. That's exactly what I'm going to do here with Omega Shenron. I'm not going to go 3,000 Dragon Stones for 1 copy, right? I'll go as much as 2,000 Dragon Stones for 1 copy, and maybe even less if they have some discounts or things of that nature. Hopefully they'll have tickets. If they have tickets, that's great. I'm still at 0 for my main account, which is fantastic. But anyway, hopefully you guys enjoy this breakdown here. I'm rambling too much about this unit. But tell me what you guys think. Are you guys summoning for them? Are you guys not? How would you have changed this unit? Love to hear in the comment section below. If you're new to my channel, like, subscribe, do all that good stuff. Thank you all for watching. Keep on Dokkaning. We'll catch you next time. Later.